Hey everyone, welcome back to another Empires and Puzzles video. This time we will review the balance update, which just went live today for February of 2026. And we'll see if there's anything that's game changing or that impacts maybe defenses or attacking teams. But yeah, so far on the top you can see here all the heroes that are impacted or the families as well. So let's start going down the list and see what changed. So the first thing is the Institute and Forsaken Family. These are all those heroes that do insanity. So that passive Eldritch Pact was modified. So while the Eldritch Host, while they are in the Eldritch Host form, the hero will no longer inflict insanity to itself. I think that's a good thing. It's a good thing if you have the heroes that have the Eldritch Host form. I don't think not a lot of people use those heroes, so I don't think this is really that crazy. It's definitely an improvement for those heroes, but nothing really that impactful to the game, I think. The big thing, which I'm seeing here, is the slime family. So a lot of these heroes got buffs. When most of these heroes came out, like Zystique, Sliposi, a lot of people were complaining that they kind of are a little too boring, and I agree. Out of this list, I only have Sliposi, the purple slime. And pretty much all he did was he gave slime to the corner or slots 1 and 5, and some mana as well. So he didn't really do a whole lot. I did still use him occasionally. He's still pretty good. But now that I see some of these heroes have buffs, it makes me want to use them a little bit more. So let's go over this. So Zystique, right on the top, she now will recover 25% health for the caster and nearby allies. This is really great. This is similar to the new vegetable that just came out, Broseph, where he also heals himself and then nearby allies. He does 50%, so here's only 25%, but it's still better than nothing. The reason why I don't know if I'm just not a huge fan of the healing or not, but they give the mega minions on the allies as well. So I don't really know if this healing is a huge buff. Obviously an overheal would have been ideal, but still a very nice buff to Zystique. For Sliposi, so I do have this hero, and I'll try and demo him in one attack as well. But now the caster regenerates 1020 boosted health over 4 turns. So that's 250 health every turn, which is pretty nice, and it's overhealing, so that's always a plus compared to Zystique's just normal healing that she does. I still wish there was a little bit more to Sliposi, maybe some growth, or I don't know, maybe I don't know, some growth with defense only, or even just attack. Just a little bit more to make him more usable for attacking teams and even for defense. But a buff is a buff, and we'll take it. Up next is Leblub. He, I think, is used a little bit more than some of these other heroes. But for the Devouring Goo added, so all enemies receive the Devouring Goo for 4 turns. And the effect is that it removes all dispellable buffs and growth effects and deals 200 damage each turn. If the effect is removed, 50 more damage is dealt for each removed effect. So this is pretty good. There are, I think there's one, I think Charmion does this as well, this Devouring Goo. So I think it's nice. I think there's probably a couple more of the slimes that give this effect, but it's kind of like a D-spell, I guess, on each enemy that happens every turn. So I think it's pretty good, but the issue is that there's no direct damage. It kind of takes, it's damage over time, and it's not that much damage. I mean, it's 200 plus 50 per removed effect. So I don't think it's really that crazy. It's pretty much 800 damage minimum. But it can still get cleansed. It can still, get removed somehow. So I don't think it's, the greatest effect, but it's a nice addition to Leblub here. Up next, we have Bullclug. Bullclug is a really interesting hero because he has that, reflect of the red. So I think that, makes him, one of the best out of this whole slime category, but his direct damage was increased from 405% to 450%. That's a pretty big increase. I think that'll probably be about like 400 or 500 extra damage for his hit. And then now him and his nearby allies will get an additional 200 attack and growth. That's a really great buff. Anything that gives growth automatically is one of the best heroes in the game. Growth just helps you keep your heroes relevant in the quick changing meta. So I think any hero that gives growth is like very, very good, and just their usability increases over time. So very nice buff. I really like this buff for Bulklug. So if I get him, I definitely would level him as well. Up next, we have Bobu Sang. I think he's the most recent slime that came out. And his direct damage was increased from 460% to 500%. Not a huge. I think this will also be about 300 to 400%, or 300 to 400 damage increase. So definitely nice. I don't know. I'm a little conflicted with Bobu Singh. I feel like he's really good, but you need a lot of him on defense for him to actually use. I haven't seen people use him in attacking team, so I can't say how good he is in that regard. But extra damage is always going to be helpful. But yeah. Then up next, we have the typical Hero of the Month buffs. So let's quickly go over them, but these are usually the ones that are less exciting. So for example, Natalia, her burn damage was increased like 70 points. Like that's so like, and it's over 4 turns. Like you're getting like, I don't know, like 15 or something extra burn damage over turn. Like honestly, it's like a waste of a time even doing a buff for her like that. Same thing for her costume. Like what are we even doing? Like that's makes no difference in my opinion. Like it has to be increased to like about 200 or 300 to make it actually a worthwhile buff. And these are such old heroes that like if you give it that extra 200 buff, like people will be happy, but here like nobody really cares about this buff. For Zelene, her direct damage was increased by a pretty decent amount from 225 to 255, and then her costume 210 to 240. Her attack stats are so low that this really does not make that much of a difference. So honestly, I feel like their stats need to be increased, or like their damage needs to be like in the 300s to make a dent in people. But Zillion literally deals like, I don't know, like 500 damage probably to everyone. So not worth it in my opinion, but if you have her like in you use her every war, definitely a good buff to have. Bertilla also a 50% increase, so this one's pretty good. So far, this is the biggest increase in damage because the other ones are about 30%. Uraeus, also pretty big increase, 50%, so that's pretty good to 635. Viscaro, pretty small, only 30% as well. Iris, 30%, so nothing too crazy. But you can see nothing here is really, in my opinion, that notable to bring out. Like Zed is probably the newest hero out of the so he got a nice little buff, but nothing too crazy in these. I don't think it's worth spending too much time on these Hero of the Month buffs just because they're all so old and it's not really that worth it to use them anymore. But some dragons got a buff as well. I'm not familiar with exactly these dragons, but let's see. So Ring for assist skill added, recover 210 health for all allies, pretty small amount. And most dragons now deal, there was that buff a few months ago where now dragons will both heal and do some sort of damage. So maybe they forgot one and they added it here now. Elder Claw, so if and this is the special skill now for Elder Claw. His Fiend attack increased from 45 to 80%. Raw damage is legendary battles increased from 30 to 500. I don't know what that raw damage is about necessarily, but the Fiend increase is nice. So it's definitely useful if there's somewhere where you can't heal. Those Fiends are going to do a bit more damage. And then Mordax, also an attack increase for his minions from 50 to 85%. So pretty nice buff there as well. Yeah, so I think overall the highlight from here is all the slimes. These are all pretty good buffs for them. and it addresses some of the complaints that people had previously when these slimes came out. I do have Slipose, and I'll try and find some raids with some of these other heroes that we can test out. Yeah, I'll be back in just a moment for some hits. All right, so we're gonna try this team. I have my Slipose here, which has that buff as well on the bottom here, where he regenerates 1,020 boosted health over 4 turns. And then here we have the Bullclick as well, which the buff is that growth. I think they paired their team up really well with both Bullclick and Ustad, because when Bullclick goes off, with the growth, now Ustad is going to hit much harder. So I think that's a really good pairing that they did. So definitely if you have Bullclick, I think that's like the correct way to pair them up on defense, or even attacking teams as well. Okay, we'll get our purples here, and we definitely want to kill Ustad first, I think. And you can see Slipose has that buff now for the increased health. Bullclag he's about to go off, and so we'll see that growth come into effect as well. They might kill someone here because Duval's going off as well. I mean, she hits pretty hard. I mean, that's like, what, 1,200, 1,300 damage? But I mean, Slipose, he's really fun. So if you have him, same with like Zastique, kind of the same vibe with, building teams with them, is you want to use them with slow heroes. So I think the most common usage of Zastique that I've seen is to pair her with Bernadette. Then I think like Dunaheart, I see people using him as well. So here, similar concept. I'm putting my slow heroes with Slipose, and it seems to be working pretty well. I'll try and clear the burn. I'm going to stall a little bit so that Duval can die here. Oh, Elaine's going to go off and just kill my whole team. Yeah, both of this, or any slime as a tank is really tough to play with. They keep getting that mega minion on themselves, and it just is really difficult to kill them. So let's see if we can try and get some purples to Ghost. I think we're actually going to lose this. And we lost, but I think that still like showcases a little bit of the slime buffs. I don't have any of the other heroes that have buffs, but please let me know in the comments if you received any of, if you have any of the heroes that got buffs. Which buff do you like the most? And definitely let me know in the comments what you think about this balance update. I think it is one of the weaker ones maybe that we've seen in the past. Not too much going on, but sometimes less is more. So I'm not complaining. I think everything was good here. Nothing too game changing, and so hopefully in March they won't do anything crazy as well. But I think so far so good.